Typically at this point, we would just kind of go into what everyone's playing. But I know there's one topic that I I I don't want to say I don't want to talk about it, but I know Sarah and Blaine have a lot to say about it. So I'm going to jump into our first news story. Where did I put it? In a video interview with Game Informer, Demon Souls Remastered's creative director Gavin Moore solidified his stance against the inclusion of difficulty options for the franchise, stating, "There are no difficulty options in Demon Souls, and there shouldn't be." And the reason I bring this up is because I did a retweet of someone who was also talking about this, basically just saying, difficulty options and accessibility options need to be put in these games because not everyone's playing at the same skill level, not everyone's playing at the same accessibility level, and it fucking blew up. I'm still getting people pissed off at me to this second, and it's fucking hilarious. And I know Blaine's got a lot that she wants to go off on him about it, though.
Well, hold that thought.
Paper.
Okay, now I'm ready.
It's many an angry anime avatar coming at me.
Oh no.
Anybody who follows me in any capacity knows that I don't put up with this bad faith bullshit that constantly goes on. Whether you're a trans woman who's outspoken, someone of any marginalized group who just happens, or even someone who is not a part of a marginalized group but wants to speak on behalf, like not on behalf, but who wants to promote things that are being said that nobody's listening to, there's always some fucking idiot of like, well, actually, you're the real bad guy. And that's what I feel like I saw so much of in your replies.
It was... I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're ableist because you're saying that Dark Souls is too hard for disabled people. And it's like, I've literally heard both physically and non-physically disabled people talk about how, like, the lack of more accessibility options for those games means they cannot play them in any capacity. And that's a failure of game design. I mean, as much as that is kind of a meme, the failure of the game designer, but, like, literally that is a failure of design if you're completely excluding people from enjoying your product because of something like as arbitrary as you won't put it in easy mode.
Exactly. And I think like the core of the argument for me at least was having an easy mode will never invalidate the experience you have on quote unquote normal or intended. That you don't have to pick that option. You can still play the quote unquote intended experience. And just the option of that existing pisses them off for whatever reason. So it's been a mix of just like obvious trolls like, oh, haha, get wrecked, get good. Some really bad faith, people being like super crazy and disingenuous. And so block and mute are my new best friends.
Oh, yes. Use them non-sparingly.
For me, the one thing that kind of pisses me off about that comment and the whole situation is the fact that, at least to me, and I'm sure other people can like fight this opinion, demons, the souls, how you pronounce that, is to me personally the real like next gen experience that I've seen coming from PlayStation 5 or the Xbox One, and I want to play that. I want to see what the next generation of gaming is going to look like, and I feel like Demon Souls is what that is. It's beautiful. It has the 3D audio. They even sounded amazing on like my normal TV when they showed that gameplay demo. Like, it looks next gen, and the fact that Sony's seemingly locking that behind a game like Demon Souls that has no accessibility options, no, like, and I was talking to someone else about this. I'm like, the game doesn't even need like difficulty options. You can have something along the lines of like modifiers. Maybe you start the game at like a higher level. Maybe you start the game and you have higher attack or like higher defense or something like that. Anything to make it more accessible for like people like me who literally couldn't get past the first hour to like jump in and actually play this. But the fact that they're like hiding this experience, not really hiding it, but like locking this experience behind one of the, and I've talked to all my friends are Souls people, all of them, and they've even said Demon Souls is the hardest Souls game ever. And they're like, and they're locking this behind the fact that, oh, we're remaking the hardest Souls game and putting no difficulty options in it because fuck the idea of like people wanting to play this game who couldn't play it.
Right.
Just, it's, which makes me agree.
I'm somebody who like I've actually been on Dark Souls panels at PAX, right? Like I cut my teeth on the Souls games. I played Demon Souls for about 300 hours, Dark Souls for about 400 hours, Dark Souls 2 for about 300 hours, Dark Souls 3 for about 400 hours, and Bloodborne for about 500 hours. So I've intimately familiar with the with the Souls series, to say the least. And yes, part of what Miyazaki and From Software were going for was to drop you into a harsh world with very little recourse. But disabled people have been living in a very harsh world with little recourse their entire lives. And they shouldn't be made to feel. I mean, there are so many disabled people, friends of mine like Grant Stoner and Steven Spahn, who are locked out of participating in so many things, in life. Steve and Grant, for example, will never climb a mountain. They'll never be able to, they'll never be able to go for a run. They'll never be able to go for a walk on their own. Like, and so I see no issue with allowing the disabled community to at least make it easier for them to play a video game. And this argument of, it dilutes the original experience. I mean,
so don't use it.
Suck my ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Like eat my ass from the front. Here's the thing about that. Sorry, I can swear here, right?
Oh, absolutely, you fucking can.
Yeah, okay. So
yeah.
I should have asked beforehand. But so like, people say, oh well, if you add like an easy mode, for let's just say an easy mode, for example, and an easy mode can mean a whole bunch of things, right? Like you're talking about accessibility options. You're talking about making it easier to to make kills, making it easier to dodge, giving people bigger windows. If you add modes like that, it's not like somebody's putting a fucking gun to your head and forcing you to do them yourself. You can still experience the game the way that you want to play it. Just play it like you normally would. Play it on whatever normal mode they have. And if you're really that concerned about making things like PvP unbalanced, then simply separate those two online modes, and boom, you've got fucking nothing to worry about.
Absolutely.
Didn't
Bloodborne have an offline and online mode? Just do that.
You can take it offline.
No, what I'm saying is like, if a disabled individual who may not have the all the faculties that a fully able person does would like to play online, then have a separate online mode for individuals who need accessibility options, and keep that separate from the online mode. I mean, if that's what it takes,
basically.
If that's what it takes, then fuck it. I don't see the problem in giving people options. It is easy for somebody with full control of all their faculties to sit back and stroke their chin and say, this dilutes the original, the vision of the original creator, and it's like a whiskey. You should never cut your whiskey with water because it won't taste the way the distiller meant it to. Well, fuck you. If I want to put water in my whiskey, I will. And because
go.
There you go. Like, there you go, Blaine.
Yeah.
And so,
come at me, Twitter.
This whole like options don't hurt anybody, especially if nobody forces you to fucking. I don't get it. I don't get the big deal. I never have, and I never will.
I think it's just such a baseline lack of fucking empathy.
For real.
It's an option. They're not forcing jack shit on you, and I think. I probably could have worded my little math analogy better, but it's like not everyone's operating on the same baseline level of skill. Like if you're fighting like a level 10 difficulty boss and you're like let's say a level 7 skill player, the adjusted difficulty is you're fighting a level 3. But if someone's a fucking level 1, that's a level 9, and they're having a harder experience than you are just based on what they started off with. And so having an easier mode will bridge that mathematical gap, and they'll basically be experiencing the exact same fucking thing that you are. I think we might have lost John. He's frozen.
He just put he froze.
Oh no.
I mean, really quick, but it sort of reminds me of, because I'm playing Watch Dogs Legion, and I'll talk about it later. But when the game was like advertised, it was advertised as honestly like a roguelike.
Oh, there's John, resurrected.
Yeah, that was weird. That was really weird. Sorry.
Revive. Now my revive has like a 30-minute cooldown. Sorry, guys.
Punish John.
That was really strange. I was crestfallen, John, for a minute.
But so really quick, and honestly, I'll bring it up later. But playing Watch Dogs Legion, the game was advertised with its like roguelike elements, being like, oh, if you lose a follower, that follower is gone forever. As soon as you start the game up, you can turn that shit on or off. There's a legitimate permadeath button next to the difficulty options that literally says on or off. Mm-hmm. So no matter what you can, if that whole version of like a permadeath scares you, which permadeath scares the fuck out of me, you can easily turn it off, which is what I did, meaning that the person will just like respawn within a certain time. And it's just like the idea of they can easily throw that in there with the difficulty option. It just baffles me that games like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, which I will argue I played Bloodborne a bit more. It was not easier for me, but I had a better time playing it. It just baffles me that we're in 2020, we're getting brand new consoles, and Souls games don't have difficulty options. Well, like it's weird for me.
It totally is, and I feel because what everyone always circles back into is like John had said, like, oh well, it goes against Miyazaki and the team's design ideas, and like, but you can still use the whole like you don't select a difficulty and still work in accessibility, like whether it's options in the menu that you manually turn on and off, like in things. I mean, Control has its issues, which I think you talked about, Sarah, at great length, that I agree with 100%. But like those options still exist, and I've even thought, well, how could you make it thematically work when this whole universe is the way it is? I'm like, just make a ring or make a like something that you get right when the game starts. Like
you have the option to have on or off.
Yeah, they have gifts. So in every Souls game that I can think of, I don't know if Sekiro has it, but I know Dark 1, 2, and 3 all have a gift that you choose at the beginning, and you can just choose like. Call it the novice's ring, or even just call it like the overcoming hardship ring or something, like so that you can it'll just beef your character up and like not take away from the lore of the world or whatever. It won't add an artificial difficulty thing in. It just boosts your stats. Like, I mean, you could do that.
That's what I'm saying from the beginning. Like, don't put a difficulty option in there, but put something in there that allows me to modify my experience to where I can still play it and still have a little bit of challenge, but have that one help there, like a ring, like damage modifiers, like ability modifiers. Maybe start me off at like level 10 instead of level 1. Yeah. Have me work my way up. I don't mind that. And of course, obviously, I put this game on my Christmas list. I'm most likely going to get it. I'm still going to play it. But only because I just want to see what a next-gen game looks like. I have a high doubt I'm going to enjoy myself, sadly. I just hate to say it, but I have a high doubt I'm going to enjoy playing it.
I think I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to say, I would just say this. I mean, if you're, when you talk about things like, the intended design, like if your intended design does not include the ability for everybody to be able to comfortably play the game, then your design fucking kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Your vision is kind of shitty.
Intended difficulty is like the most. That's why I made that stupid fucking meme when Jose was going through what he was going through. Like, people jump to, well, it's the intended difficulty, it's the intended design. I'm like, okay, if I can make a big ass reach, like Hitler's intended design was a world without like people of certain races, creeds, colors, religions, etc. Like. You can talk about intended design all day, but the fact of the matter is, like John pointed out, if that intended design is exclusionary, it's a shitty fucking design. Bar none, bottom line.
I think maybe to just put a pin on it, just because I've already been dealing with a headache for it the last 2 days. Fuck ableist, fuck elitism, and generally, I know there's plenty of good people in the Souls community, but fuck the assholes in there.
Actually,
I'm part of the Souls community, and it is one of the most toxic, shit-ridden communities in the entirety of the medium. So,
literally, like,
absolutely.
I know last time I came on the podcast, I said the thinnest people with the fandoms with the thinnest skin in video games fandoms were the Spec Ops: The Line fandom and the Last of Us fandom.
I didn't even know there was Spec Ops: The Line fandom.
There kind of is, but they just get mad about shit. I used to be in it, but honestly, I completely forgot about the Soulsborne community being like just this next level of so much toxic bullshit, but then like a few cool people at the top who try to keep shit like fine, but obviously have to separate themselves from all the other shit.
Right.
Before we change this subject, I just realized, John, you kind of look like a Souls vendor who's like sitting in the corner of the room, like, here, we'll sell you this sword, and then backstab one of your other vendors like later on in the game.
I'm just gonna start. You know what? I could pull my cowl down here a little bit, and I could just sit here and go after everything I say. Like, I believe there should be accessibility options in Souls games.
I was gonna say, if you want to open your robe a bit, you can go, "What are you buying?"
Yeah, just like accessibility options in my game.
Stranger, that's the weapon.
Excuse me. If you played Resident Evil 4 and actually utilized the merchant, you did not really play the game as intended. You cheated yourself and lost the experience. Okay, but no joke. When I first played Resident Evil 4, I didn't know.
I'm gonna drive through McDonald's tomorrow with this thing on, and I'm gonna look at the number 3, which I think is the quarter pounder with cheese meal, and I'm gonna say, I'll buy it at a high price.
The fact you memorized that kind of scares me.
I've played way too much Resident Evil 4.
Wait,
I
I thought you were
memorized
talking
with
about
the
the quarter pounder.
pounder. Yeah, that's what I did.
I mean, look, there's not that many options at McDonald's that are actually edible. Let's be real.
Not many.
They say, but I will eat anything.
As someone who used to work there, do not eat the chicken fingers. They're just vile. You'll never enjoy them, and you'll always feel sick afterwards.